ought to be that way with me. But I've only enough one man. I've got a hunch I'm never going to feel no other kind of.
You should go now. Run. No, I won't leave you here. We can run together. Listen, if we run together, they will shoot us from behind. We both die. So, how's about you here? They will kill you. No, don't worry about me. I will hold them. I want you to promise me to survive, to take this message for our country.
Hey everybody, we're about to get started in just a minute. I'm just, as usual, making sure everything is good to go. Be starting in maybe just one more minute. And welcome in to everybody. Thanks for being here. All right. Hey everybody. uh, just putting finishing touches on things. But I think we're ready to go. There he is with his duck. Not an NDRE song, I guess so. Anyway, hey sunflowers, welcome to BPD squared. Oh, where I got some of my eye. Hold on. Okay, I think I'm good now. Okay, so tonight, once I get this thing out of my eye, I think it's eyelash. But tonight is gonna go a little bit differently from what we have previously done on this channel. To be completely honest with you guys, this week has been a major challenge mentally. The short version of the story is that I had an episode this week and I'm currently in recovery mode. So right now I'm attempting to function in a way that's considered normal for me. I'm still a bit disoriented. I'm still trying to get my bearings and, decipher what's reality and what's an illusion. But for the most part, I'm doing better, feeling better. Yes, I know, dear. I didn't know how to turn it off. But yeah, so tonight I figured I would use this experience in our discussion and basically just kind of give y'all an explanation of what you might witness if your loved one suffers from BPD or any other type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Disorders that deal with hallucinations, dissociation, and alter presentation. And for all of that, we are going to get into that. Of course, I will explain everything. But yeah, so tonight we're gonna, like I said, we're just gonna talk about what that experience was like for me, how my friends and my husband helped me through it, and basically, hey, and basically how I'm, recovering from it and what I do as a part of my recovery process. So, yeah, we're going to get into all that tonight. But first, as usual, if you are new to this channel, new to my face, haven't witnessed any of my content before, then hey again, Sunflower. My name is Brenda. And as I said before, this platform is called BPDsquared. It is a channel that I created after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. And I created this channel to discuss mental health from a personal level and on a personal level. So the aim here is to educate and spread awareness about various topics that surround mental health as it is. And I'll be honest, when I tell people about BPDsquared and what I do and how, I want to go about presenting this to the public, everybody always says, oh, it's needed. This is definitely needed. So this platform, and at least that's what I hope, is the answer to that. So with that being said, I want to make it very clear that my platform is only meant to have discussions and give explanations based on my personal experiences and the experiences documented by others that are openly searchable. With, I'm making a quick transition. So with that being said, I want to make it very clear that I am not a licensed professional. Licensed medical professional, and I am not able to give any counseling or therapeutic advice. But what I can and will do on this channel is share my research experiences and the lessons that I've learned along the way with you guys. And if anything is going on to where we are having these discussions and you feel like there's more information that you may need, or that you do need to reach out to someone who can give you further help and further understanding in what it is you are experiencing, then please utilize the resources. Where am I pointing? Please utilize the resources that are here on the screen, as well as available in the flower box, aka the description box below. There is a link that will take you to a web page, to a page on my website that lists all of these resources as well as a few others. As you can see, these resources do cater to specific groups of people for their specific needs. So if that happens to be a concern, there is someone for everyone. So I definitely say check out those resources, as well as look into the other links that I have that go to these different websites. Very Well Mind and The Mighty are great websites that give kind of insight to people's personal experiences, things that people share. So pretty much they do what I'm doing here, where I share my experience and give the personal perspective from the medical side. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, definitely check out all of those resources that I have available there. And finally, I want to issue a trigger warning to everyone. This channel, like I said, we discuss various topics that pertain to mental health on this channel. And this is something that I feel needs to be added to every discussion that from this point on, because with us talking about mental health, we will possibly cross into points of the subject that might be triggering to others and might be just, mentioning things that maybe uncomfortable for most people to deal with or handle. So I do want to make it clear that because this is a mental health channel, there is a high possibility that things can be discussed that might put someone into that mode. But I will do my very best to try to make it as clear as possible if we're going to talk about something particularly distressing or concerning, or if I mention anything that might be harmful or anything of that way. As you guys know, I add my timestamps in the description, as well as I pin it in the comments. So if there's anything that comes up and you might not want to go through listening to that or need, to get through that, it will be available. So if there happens to be a point where I'm talking about something that is concerning for you and you feel like it can affect your well-being, I have no issue with you guys checking out for a bit, coming back later. Like I said, timestamps will be available. So if you do want to come back and watch the rest of the content after that part has been posted, most definitely you can do that as well. I just want to make sure that we're creating a safe space for everyone to be able to get the information in the most comfortable way possible. All right. So thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you for the sunflowers. Thank you for the ducks. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Thank you so much. But yeah, so with all of that being said, I hope that was all okay and understood. So we are going to get into tonight's actual topic. So this is basically a story time that I'm going to share with you guys. And I just, like I said, want to explain what I went through and kind of give some insight as to what could possibly happen if someone is experiencing an episode, or if you yourself might have ever experienced an episode, and just kind of want to get a bit of understanding or perspective as to what constitutes an episode, I guess. But again, my experience may not be the same as someone else's, but I still feel it necessary to hear it from that perspective, because there's maybe someone out there who is going through it the same way I did. So story time. So I'm going to be reading from my script because I don't want to get off topic and I don't want to get myself lost. So y'all just bear with me, please. But the thing I hate the absolute most about living with this disorder, BPD specifically, is knowing that something is about to happen and not being able to stop it. So I had been feeling off for a few days. I had just came home from pet sitting. I spent some time with a friend during the weekend. Like the weekend I came home, I spent time with a friend, and I had a plan basically to get myself back on track for work and everything. Like I knew I had a meeting coming up and I was planning for my live for today, actually. So the topic wasn't even going to be this. So I was prepping for the meeting, like I said, and I was even going to record a video to put out, and I really wanted to put it out like yesterday, but apparently that didn't happen. But, regardless, I had this entire plan for the week. And as excited as I was to get things, as excited as I was to get things going, unfortunately, I was under some stress and I didn't realize how stressed I really was. So my friend Drea, who I talk about all the time on this channel, apparently she's a constant stay here. So one of these days I'm gonna just bring her on here so she could talk to y'all. But Drea basically called me up and was like, hey, so you're still gonna help me with my classroom? And I was like, oh shite. So and like I said, through no fault of hers, it basically threw a wrench in my whole plan. And I was like, okay. Now, looking back, panic did start to set in, but this might have been one of the things that added to it in the long run. But for the most part, I chose to ignore the panic part. And I was like, okay, I'm just not going to let it get to me. I'm going to try to just ignore that whole feeling because it's not that big of a deal. Basically, I tried to talk myself down from panicking. So I was like, okay, yeah, I did agree to do this. I wanted to uphold what I said I was going to do. Now, I know that I had a choice to say no, and I could have, stepped back and relinquished it. But at the same time, I wanted to be there for my friend and say, it's not like I'm doing anything super tedious or very demanding. So I was like, yes, I made a promise. I said I was going to help, so I'll be there. And I agreed for her to pick me up so I could stay overnight for a couple of days. So Monday night is when she picked me up. And I did my best to try to focus on working, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out that well. So I couldn't get myself in a working mood. Like, I was working on some stuff and I was trying to read and I was trying to study, but at the same time, when you're around your friends and you got stuff going on and y'all want to laugh and be fun and you just want to have fun, you want to do your thing. So I was like, whatever, I'll just get back to it later. It's no big deal. Because I was pretty much at the ending. I was close to the end of everything I was working on anyway. So I was like, I still have some time to get, things together. And if anything, I'll just work on it either tomorrow while I was at the school when I had some time, or I'll just work on it when I got back to her house the next evening. So Tuesday, I realized I was in a rageful type mood. It's like, or really, I guess the best word is irritable. I was very irritable that day. Like, everything was seeming to bother me. So I was highly annoyed by everything. Like, noises were bothering me. There was a point where we were in the teacher's lounge about to have lunch, and it's like the more people were coming in, Drea picked up on how uncomfortable I was becoming. And because at first she was like, yeah, I just want to get out of the classroom. I don't want to look at it right now. I just want to have my lunch in peace in a different setting. But because of how uncomfortable I was getting with all the people coming around and all the noise, she was like, you know what, let's just go back to the room. It's fine. Which, thank you for being that astute. I appreciate that. So from what I remember the rest of the day, I kind of stayed quiet. I stayed to myself. I worked on the projects that she gave me. But even through all that, she could tell something wasn't right. And, I basically was just trying to ignore it. And I was just trying to think past it. Because I figured if I don't give it attention, it won't get worse. That's what I thought. Obviously, I was wrong, but I tried. But, she basically just asked me, are you okay? Are you okay? And I personally can't stand that, but I understand the reason why. Because it's like, okay, if I see that something's off, I want to know, how to approach you, if you're not. So it makes sense. So I have to deal with that. But anyway, that evening, I did my best to be engaging, join the conversations, but I knew how I felt. So after a while, I ended up excusing myself and I went to bed at 9 p.m., which is super early. But I chalked it up to maybe I'm just irritable because I'm tired. I need to get some sleep because, you got to be at the school super early, and I had to get up super early. So I am not used to getting up that early. So I figured maybe that was adding to it. So let me just get some extra sleep and I'll be fine. Well, as I said, okay, I'm going to bed. That was their sign to follow me into the bedroom, which is what we always do. When somebody leaves one room, everybody just goes with them. So in the most loving and polite way possible, as everybody was kind of crowding around the bed, I started turning lights off and started setting myself up with my book. I put the lamp on and I said, all right, I love you guys. Good night. To which Chi, who is Drea's wife, was like, how you gonna kick me out of my own room in my own house? So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. But they understood and they let me be. So I took some time. I read in my book, and that's what I started doing lately, is reading books, reading at night to take my mind off of everything else and try to immerse myself into a whole nother world or a whole nother perspective. So I read some of my book and put it away, and I ended up calling my husband. And normally I talk to him when I'm in those modes because his voice does calm me down. And I was hoping, by talking to him, I would be calm enough to actually get to sleep. But yeah, that, stuff. So he was basically like, okay, well, have you drank any water? Are you hydrated? So I was like, okay, I'll go and get some water. But as I was getting up to get water, squatters' rights, LMAO. Hold on, wait. BPD versus PTSD. I know the feeling of not being yourself. That's a discussion because I have to look into how BPD and that correlate. Because I know BPD is more related to CPTSD, but that's another topic for another day. So, and I do apologize if my voice is a little raggedy or struggling or whatever. Like I said, it's I'm coming back to myself, and I'll explain what that means as I continue the story. So, what I was gonna say is, as I was getting up to get that glass of water, I ended up smashing my pinky toe, on the bed, and I'm talking about to a point where it looked like the way it felt reminded me of those like Crash Dummy commercials where it pushes into something and it's just, yeah, and it just crushes all up. That's what it felt like. And I guess that incident started the spiral that I was desperately trying to avoid. Oh, and by the way, my foot is fine for the most part. It's like I thought it was broken, but it's not. Well, at least I don't think it is. It doesn't feel like it's broken. Like I would know what that means, but I think it's just sprained. It just really, really hurts, and it's still swollen. But like I said, basically that was the thing that pretty much pushed me over the edge. Yes, the baby toe. You shot me in my pinky toe. That's how I felt. Shout out to Della Reese. Now, I guess, yes, at this point, we can issue a trigger warning because I'm going to now explain exactly what happened as my memory serves of what it means when I go through an episode. So some of the things I might mention might be triggering to some people. So you have been warned. But as best as my memory serves, I will explain the events. So, from what I remember, I got off the phone with my husband and I attempted to go to sleep even though I was in a lot of pain and extremely angry that I busted my freaking toe. But I felt the disturbance in my body. And I knew no matter what I tried, exactly the Peter. So it literally is the Peter Griffin knee moment. That's exactly how it felt, but worse. I was angrier than Peter. So that's a good analogy. That's funny. Anyway, so yeah. I felt the disturbance in my body, and I knew that no matter what I tried, it was not going to be easy. And something just said, it just has to happen. I tried to stop it. I tried to ignore it. I tried to just do whatever to just get over it. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, you just have to let it happen. So I said something. I called out to Chi, basically. Because Drea at the time was asleep, and I knew how it would affect my cousin who was also there. So I was like, okay, who would be the person that I know won't what's a good word? And I'm not saying this I'm not saying this to be disrespectful towards them, but I kind of felt like I knew how they would respond. So I was like, okay, who would be the person who was the most stoic in this situation, I guess is the word I was looking for. So I was like, okay, Chi, I kind of need you to come here. So she came in and I was like, all right, I remember saying something along the lines of, I just need someone here with me. I remember holding her hand and I remember screaming. I remember hyperventilating. And then I just remember them being present. Everything like in the middle of this is a blur. So like I said, what I do remember is she was there. I was holding her hand. I screamed. I couldn't breathe. I was crying. And then I just remember another person touching me to reassure me that they were there. I don't know who it was. I don't know how it happened. I just know that I felt that presence, but I couldn't tell you what actually happened. So when I have an episode, I go into what is called regression. At least that's what I've learned it to words, Brenda. That is what I have learned it to be called. So basically when I go into regression, I present as a child. I know this because I'm partially aware of what's happening when it's happening. If y'all are familiar with Black Mirror, if y'all remember, there was an episode of Black Mirror where there was this couple and I guess the mom had passed away, and in order to keep her around, they put her soul inside of a teddy bear. They put her soul inside of a teddy bear. And so basically she's able to see what's going on through the eyes of the teddy bear. It's kind of like watching a recording on a video camera or watching life through a video camera screen. I was just basically in the back observing everything that was going on. I hope this makes sense. So, as I'm observing the child being present, the child is getting their bearings, figuring out where they are. And I hear this faraway voice asking me, what do I need? And I do realize it was Drea. And by that time I realized Drea was sitting next to me. But because I was not the one at the forefront, it sounded like she was asking me this from a whole nother room. Like, I'm just, like I said, it sucks because my memory kind of goes in and out. And I want to say thank you so much because you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate that you did. She basically wrote out something for me to kind of fill in the blanks of what happened. So I have a bit of reference from her perspective as well as from my memory. So from what I remember, from what I read, she was saying that, yeah, basically they could tell I was getting irritable and that I did excuse myself and I went to the room. She remembers me calling her name, and she kind of just was, as I was going through the initial motions, the screaming and hyperventilating, she was holding my hand and she was just waiting for Drea and my cousin to come in, so that way, because they've dealt with it before, which brought back to my memory because I almost forgot about that. But she was waiting for them to get in there so that they could assess the situation. I do remember Drea told me later on that she ended up calling my husband, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me finish the first part of the story. Anyway, but for the most part, yeah, I went through the motions. I do remember parts of the child looking around the room as she reminded me, the child's looking around the room, trying to figure out where they are, what's going on. I remember seeing flashes of pink. I don't know why. And I remember Drea asking me, did I need anything or did I want anything? I think. But I do remember the child said that they wanted candy. So randomly, well, not randomly, but I said I wanted candy, and then all of a sudden candy appeared. So I was happy. The way that she describes it, Drea asked me what I needed. The child said, I want candy. And she remembered that Drea had a bag of candy that she was going to use for her kids in the classroom, but she kept forgetting the bag. And so she went into the other room and grabbed a couple of lollipops and placed them on the bed in front of the child. And I do remember that the child was extremely happy. So, so the next thing I know, I'm holding Chi's hand with a lollipop in my mouth. That's how I remember coming to. That's the way I can describe it. That's the way I remember coming to. And I just chalk it up to the child was satisfied at that point because they had their lollipop. But I was just like, basically, okay. From what Chi explained, right? 100 on the support team, exactly. From what she described, basically, when I came to, I looked at the lollipop, I looked at her, and I was like, I have candy. It must have been bad. What happened? So, everybody, and as she explained, as I asked that, everybody kind of just looked at me like, oh God. Like everybody was kind of silent and wasn't really sure what to say and how to respond. Because I understand it was like, okay, I don't want to say the wrong thing and send you back into it. But basically, like I said, she is my more direct, stoic friend. So I was like, oh, wait, I asked what type of candy and you said lollipop. Got it. So, oh, did you ask me if I wanted chocolate? I'm kind of remembering. I think I remember that. You might have asked me if I wanted chocolate. But anyway, what was I saying? Hold on. So yeah, basically Chi, my more direct friend, was the one that kind of broke the ice and was like, well, this is what happened. And yeah, basically you just said that you wanted candy. So I gave you candy. And I was like, oh, yeah, so Drea says that she offered me chocolate and I said no. So there you go. But yeah, so that is pretty much the gist of it. And I feel like I'm not putting as much severity on it as it probably warrants because I can't speak to the perspective of what they witnessed and how it made them feel. Like I said, when she gave me her explanation, that's pretty much what it was. It was just an explanation. But when it comes to how that actually made them feel and how, I guess basically how it made them feel, I can't speak to that. But I can say that I'm grateful that they were there. What? Wait, hold on. I'm reading Chi's comment. I said you turned into a baby. Got it. So, yeah, that's that story. If y'all have any questions, if y'all have any questions, let me know for right now so I can take a quick break. Because I know there was a lot that I said. So I'm hoping that what I explained made some sense. Okay, Drea says, you said a lollipop, you said red, then you said blue, then you said Jolly Rancher, then you said I want a pink one. Then I slipped away and called your husband. That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, I'll get into that part of the conversation very soon. But yeah, like I said, if y'all have any questions about what happened so far, if you need any clarity on anything, go ahead, drop them in the chat. Hey, Chris. So if you're just joining, Chris, you're gonna have to watch this portion back because tonight's topic I'm explaining what it's like to have a BPD episode from my own lived experience. I literally just finished the story. So, yeah, so you're gonna have to go back and watch it if you'd like to know what that was like. But in a minute, like I said, I was just giving everyone a chance to, if there's any questions or concerns that they may have in regards to this, I want to give everybody a chance to ask anything. But of course, if we're all good, leave your sunflower, leave me a thumbs up, and I'll move on to the next part. And I also want to say a special hey there, hello to Blue, to C. I am not sure who Nazel is, but hey, hun. And I bet you, like, I'm gonna get a text message like, it's me. And I'm like, okay. Shout out to my girl. Hey, girl. Hey, Corey. Shout out to my love. And of course, my best friends and my cousin are in the chat who were there with me that night. So thank y'all so much. And it's cool. You know I will. And he's going to hate me, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want to give a special birthday shout out to one of my very, very good friends who is in the chat. I'm going to be... Do I want to be nice? Okay, I'll be nice because I know that if I don't, he will find me and hunt me down and hurt me. So, but I want to give a special birthday shout out to you, my love. You know who you are, and I hope you enjoyed your day and whatever you plan on doing. I hope it is great, and I'm still going to send you that cupcake via FedEx. Well, look, god dang it, you put Corey, so I said Corey. Okay, pal. Hey, pal, I love you. A purchase of a bag of lollipops. May I suggest Tootsies or Charms, a comfort snack? So, and thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. I'm feeling better, but I'm still recovering. Now I'm gonna tell you this. See, for me, that wasn't my request. That was the child's request. I'm not a big candy person, but that is what I believe it was a she. That is what she wanted. So that's what was going to satisfy her. I'm about to get into a Blue right now. Thank you for bringing that out. I'm about to get into that right now. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure everybody was we were all on the same page and we were all understanding each other here. But yeah. And like I said, I'm gonna explain the whole candy thing and how I got out of it and all the words. So let's switch back to the main camera here. Okay. So hold on, let me make sure. Yeah. So I am gonna get into that. But I do want to briefly get a little educational with you guys. And I don't have any slides to talk about it, but I do have resources that should be in the flower box. If not, they will be there after this live. But so I mentioned a couple words in the as I was telling the story, which I basically said, I was in the back, the child was in the front. There's presenting, there's this, there's that. So these terminologies I adopted from another diagnosis, which is dissociative identity disorder, or DID. So DID, which also used to be called or more commonly known as multiple personality disorder, with that, and as a matter of fact, I've mentioned this before, but I do have a video that I should have linked below as well, that I talk about my first experience really dealing with these presentations of these different personas coming out. But with DID, a person who's diagnosed with DID has what are called alters. So their alters come forth and present themselves as a protection method for the host. The host is who is considered the, I guess, original or main person. So take it like this. You know me to be Brenda, and Brenda is 35, almost 35, Black, married woman, X, Y, and Z. However, it is possible that I could also come and, if depending on the switch or what's considered splitting in DID, so there's two different forms of splitting. I must clear that up too. There's two different forms of splitting. In BPD, it pertains to the level of where you're placing a person as far as their relevance in your life. And splitting in DID is when one ego state or one personality state takes over from the other. So like I was saying, so you know me as me, and in this space as I am, Black woman, married, 30s, whatever. But say that we're in the middle of talking and all of a sudden Tristan comes out. And Tristan is a white male who is 16 and loves K-pop. So there are two completely different people who happen to reside in one body. Normally, when it comes to DID, there's more than one persona because several personas were created in order to protect the person when they were a child from very, very stressful and very damaging situations. Good question. I'm getting to that, Pooh. So like I said, they are completely different people. And the host, the main difference is that with DID, the host or the original person that presents, or whatever person is presenting at the time, they are not aware of what the other is doing. So if me, Brenda, is sitting here talking to you guys, then all of a sudden Tristan kicks in. Tristan will be like, okay, I see that we're live. We had a talk about this. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I'm assuming this is what's happening. And then there could be, like I said, there's completely different gender, a different ethnic group. They could even speak different languages. They could be different ages. It just all depends. With BPD, like I said, it's very similar, but you're still aware of what's going on. So like I said, when when those things happen, I'm still here. I'm still observing, and I can still see what's going on, and I'm partially cognizant of what's going on. The only thing is that I have no control over what's happening at the time. So it's like I said, I refer to this persona as the child because the child doesn't normally have a name, and sometimes the child has, it depends on what the situation is, the child's gender changes as well. Most of the time when I was really first going through it, the child was a little boy with like a little brown hair and a bowl cut, and the boy doesn't talk. But the girl, when she comes out, so I assume that's who was there with my friends the other night. When she comes out, she speaks, but very limitedly. So it's kind of like you're having a conversation with a 4-year-old with a bit more of a vocabulary, but not really, if that makes sense. So like I said, you will normally see with a person with BPD, and BPD also is considered a part of a psychotic diagnosis as well. Because of that, you will go through those experiences of transitioning from one state to another, from one age to another. I think they also call it age sliding. So it's like you revert back, and that's your protection measure. or you respond based on the emotion you're feeling. So, someone very, very close to me, and I'm not going to say exactly who it is because I don't know how comfortable they are with me sharing this, but someone very close to me also has BPD, and they've explained to me that they go, when they are in those situations, they age regress, but also they have different personas that come out that have different names, and they present for them in those situations. So they are responding to the stress based on the emotion they're feeling at the time. So I hope to be as clear as possible. With DID, the response to stress is based on a completely separate person being created to help them transition through the problem. Whereas with BPD, you are still yourself, but you're more responding in a way that is appropriate to the emotional feeling that you're having. I hope that makes sense, y'all. I left some stuff in the flower box below, and if y'all want this, if that's something that's interesting to y'all, I will do a full video discussing the differences in full about BPD and DID as well. And also go into why BPD is considered a psychotic disorder as well. I'm going to jump over here to read a little bit of these comments. So, just want to make sure I didn't answer that. Okay, I don't answer that. So to answer Drea's question, are you diagnosed with DID? No, I am not diagnosed with DID, and I doubt that I would be diagnosed with DID. Please give me that video. I got you. The second time I went to the mental hospital, I went because of those things. I went because I was experiencing those voices. I was hearing things and seeing things and feeling like I wasn't myself, and I was feeling like I was a different person and things like that. So I'm like, okay, am I actually experiencing this, or is this just a stress response? Like, what is this exactly? But it got to a point where it was so overwhelming that I ended up attacking myself. So like I said, that's a story that I will share with y'all in another video because I don't want to go too long on this. But yeah, I had to go to the hospital for that because I was like, okay, why am I attacking myself? Why is my body responding this way? And what is it that is causing me to feel this way? But as I was there, I explained what I was going through. I explained what I was feeling and the things that I was seeing. And unfortunately, I didn't receive much feedback on that, but I assume because of the fact that they didn't actually say that there was something that matched any of that, I haven't officially been diagnosed with DID, and I don't personally believe that I have it, to answer your question, Drea. And yes, those personas and things come out to cope with trauma. Absolutely. Blue says, whoo, that's a lot. Yeah, baby, it is. Chris, you are absolutely on point because I do still need to see Moon Knight. I still need to watch it. And from what people have been saying, so if y'all aren't aware, Marvel has a show called Moon Knight, and Moon Knight is a superhero that actually deals with DID. So I personally haven't watched the show yet, so I definitely want to see it. I definitely want to see it so that I can get my own opinion of, formed around it and kind of see where they're coming from with it so that I can give a bit more of a response to that, which actually might be a good video. I might actually watch that and give y'all a response or whatever. Yeah. Being a teacher. Oh, so Drea says being a teacher, what she witnessed from me seemed to be more like a 2 or 3-year-old. That's actually a good perspective because I don't, like I said, this is my assumption, But from what y'all witnessed, because even she said this was the baby, like I was presenting as a baby, and even Drea says, no, this was more like I was talking to a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. So that's a good perspective. So that helps. And Drea says, yes, when I mentioned earlier giving a video explaining the differences between the two disorders, absolutely. So yes, I'm putting that on the list. That will be a thing. Let me write that down now. Okay, there we go. And finally, PTSD and BPD have very similar symptoms. Yes, they do. Yes, they do see, but I say go look into CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Like I said, they are similar, but BPD has been more closely compared to, I'm trying to find the right words. BPD is more closely in comparison to CPTSD. So it's definitely something that if you're interested, definitely check it out. And Keenan says Moon Knight would be an example of a BPD superhero personified. You really think so, dear? Because like I said, they were saying that it's based on him having DID, not BPD. But again, I'll check it out. I'll look into it and see kind of what the similarities and differences are. And finally, hey, Blue. Hey. So, Drea says, in my limited research, they said that it takes a lot to get diagnosed. It could take up to 6 years to be officially diagnosed. The treatment is psychotherapy, though. Are you saying 6 years to be diagnosed with DID? Because, yeah, that makes a lot of sense if it is DID. Yeah, that I'll get into that. But okay. So like I said, I just wanted to cover these questions. Thank y'all so much for the conversation. But I'm going to get back into this so I can go ahead and finish up. But yeah. So to answer Blue's question from earlier, basically asked me, okay, did you even say how you got out of it? So, basically, like I said, when I finished up this story, the way I got out of it initially was, like I said, when I had the lollipop and I got the candy, or the child got the candy rather. My assumption is that because the child was satisfied with their request, they were comfortable enough to go back in, to be internalized, and I was able to come back as myself. And so I was reminded of a few things that happened after the fact, because I kind of don't really remember. So when I came to, like I said, I asked what happened. Eventually she broke the ice and was like, yeah, this is what happened. You were a baby and you asked me for candy. Drea told me that she ended up calling my husband and that she got advice from him. My cousin I told him I just wanted something that was going to knock me out. So my cousin ended up making me something to drink so that I could actually go to sleep, which was great. I'm going to find out the concoction right now so I can make another one of those for tonight. But yeah, the next morning, I felt a bit hazy. And to me, it's kind of like I'm having a hangover. It's not like a headache, or it doesn't feel like uncomfortable. Like, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just like, it just feels really hazy. And I just felt really, really drained. And it really sucks because my body is okay. Like I can be functional and I'm okay, but it's kind of like my brain is foggy. And it's like when I don't really know how to describe it. I don't really know. Made you laugh to keep you here. Absolutely. And I appreciate you 100%. Oh, my brother's here. Hey. Hey, brother. Okay, we're going to have to talk about it because I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to have to watch. Well, before we talk about it, let me watch it first. Don't spoil it for me. Let me watch it first. But anyway, back to the point. So yeah, like I said, I just kind of felt hazy. I was just kind of, it's like I was kind of sitting in between a moment of dissociation. I guess that's the best way to put it. So it's like I'm here in reality, but part of me is still somewhere floating, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of like here, but I'm not. And Pukas is passed out on the couch. But yeah, that's what it normally feels like for me. I'm drained mentally, but my body is okay. My body can function, but my brain is still in sleep mode. So, I was able to be functional for the rest of the tasks that she assigned me. And like I said, I did my best to kind of just stay busy and just basically do what she asked me to do while I was jamming my music. So, long story short, busy work and Michael Jackson always make it better for me. Always. So, after the day was over, she ended up dropping me off at home, and I attempted to return to normal. I already wasn't eating much, which I should have known that was a sign in itself, because I'm not a big eater, but I wasn't really eating at all. So, and I really wasn't eating much of anything. So I was like, okay, I just want to get home. I just want to rest. I'm exhausted. I just want to lay down and just chill. That's all right. Hi, Travis. How are you? It's okay that you are a little bit late. It'll be up so you can see the beginning part, just to give you some, what's the word? Give you some, somebody help. I don't know what word I'm looking for. Perspective? No. So just let you know what we've been talking about all night, basically. I'm going over what it was like for me to experience a BPD episode, and how, I'm sorry, I'm over here looking over here because I see your face here, but I need to look here. I'm basically going over what it's like for me to experience a BPD episode. So I've already went through the story of what actually happened as I was in the episode, and now I'm explaining to you guys, thank you, Chris, context. Thank you. See, that's why I keep y'all around. Y'all are real. Anyway, but yeah, basically I'm in the process of explaining what happened after the fact, and how I basically got through it, what I did, what I'm doing now to recover, and how, and then I'll get into how you can be helpful, or how friends can help you, or whatever in the situation. So yeah, hopefully that brings you up to speed. But of course, like I said, you can always check it out right after the fact. So that way you can get the full context of what we're talking about here. Okay. See, you about to make me go in. Because I watched Split. Split, y'all get me off topic, but I'm going to get back. Split is a good movie, but it can be harmful for people who actively deal with DID, because it puts in this perspective that there's this special ability that they have, or because they have these multiple personas, they're considered extra or even dangerous. So the one thing I will say about Split, the only good thing about it is that it does give you insight to how different personalities, or different people, or different alters come out and present themselves in different settings. I don't believe that the way that they were presented in a movie, it was rapid switching. Even in highly stressful situations, I don't believe most people typically go through rapid switching like that. And also it doesn't, I know it was a very, very exaggerated story, but like I said, Split is one of those things that it's cool to get get context behind it, from like the scene where he's talking to the doctor, and it's like, okay, you're talking to these different people and you're learning who the different people are. That gives you some good, good perspective. But as far as the actual portrayal of the character, it's very exaggerated, because it's not that severe all the time. And Chris, I didn't want to say it, but I 100% agreed with you. M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. Actually, no. But anyway, let me get back to the topic here, you guys. So yeah, she dropped me off at home. I was just, like I said, I wasn't really eating much and I was super, super exhausted. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to try to talk to my husband a little bit, but I'm also like trying to put my brain in a calm state. So I was like, okay, I'm going to eat a little bit. I'm going to read some of my book and I'm just going to go to sleep because this is a lot. I'm so exhausted. And one of the things that also I deal with in those moments is, I call them convulsions, but I'm not sure that that's the correct term for it. But regardless, that's what I go through. My body, well, look at that. Oh, I'm about to get into it. I'm gonna get back to you, Travis, if that's okay for me to call you that. But yeah, when I'm going through those moments, especially when I'm about to experience an episode or sometimes after an episode, I go through what's, like I said, I call them convulsions, but they're basically involuntary body movements or body jerks. Oh my God, what is the actual term for that? Where is Albert when I need him? What is the term for that? It's called it's in my head, it's on the tip of my tongue, y'all, and I can't get it out. But there's a specific involuntary movement that happens in your body that's, it sometimes is triggered by medication and sometimes it's just triggered by the tardive dyskinesia? I'm gonna find it. Hold on. I think it's called tardive dyskinesia or something like that. No, it's not tics, bro. It's tics are the informal word. Convulsions are the informal. Yeah, tics and convulsions are the informal word, but it's a term. I think it's called something dyskinesia. Tardive dyskinesia. That's what it's called. So tardive dyskinesia. It's caused by long-term use of narcoleptic drugs, which are used to treat psychiatric conditions. I don't know. Thank you, Blue. See, we on the same. I swear to God, I have the best people. Ain't nobody worry about how you can spell. The point is, you got the answer out. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for that. But yeah, see, y'all, the sunflowers be on it. People sleeping on us. We out here live and real. Anyway, so yeah, I think for me it's called tardive dyskinesia, and it's basically, like I said, involuntary jerking. So it's like I'm fighting myself internally. And even when she gave me her recollection of what happened, she was like, yeah, you kept doing this like movement of like ticking and moving your hands and you're just kind of like shaking your head and stuff. So it's no, not Korea. I know what you're talking about though, but no, it is tardive dyskinesia. But yeah, that I go through those motions often. So that's something else that I deal with too. But yeah, like I said, I hope that answers the question of how I got out of it. Like I said, the child was satisfied. So basically she was okay with me coming back to the front. So I was able to kind of talk to them a little bit, kind of give them some understanding of what happened or give myself some understanding of what happened. My cousin made me a knockout drink and I went to sleep. And then I got home. I, spent some time with my husband, but then I ended up getting in the bed to try to go to bed early. I dealt with the convulsions again. And this morning, I woke up the same way. Not as exhausted as I was before, but still in between that hazy feeling of not fully in the reality, not fully in reality, but still aware of what's going on. But regardless, I still intended, as we're doing now, to move forward. Oh yeah. I don't know if I want to talk about that, Drea, because it was kind of offensive. I'm not gonna talk about it. But anyway, so Blue, let me know if that answered your question. And if there's anything else I need to clarify, please, of course, add it to the chat. I hope you didn't get the eye roll thing. I heard that sucks. Eye roll, eye roll, eye roll. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I think it just depends for me. Okay, well, Drea says I didn't, but I think I've experienced it before. I think I have experienced that before, but it doesn't happen very often. It's mostly just movements in my hands and just feeling like something's pushing me from the inside. Hold on, let me spell it out. I'm gonna put it in the chat right now. How it's actually spelled. There you go. Tardive dyskinesia. Involuntary movements, there are 25 diagnoses and counting. Sir, I'm not doing that. I'm not going down that road. But yes. But like I said, the tardive dyskinesia is mostly related to when a person has taken a certain type of medication that treats, not a certain type of medication, but any medications that treat psychotic disorders or narcoleptic issues or epileptic issues. So any medication that does that can lead to tardive dyskinesia because of how it affects your nervous system in the first place. Okay. So hold on, I got a hangnail. Ew. But yeah, so the final point that we're going to get into tonight is how you can help your loved one if you happen to experience them going through this. And before I want to get in that, I do want to point out Travis Hall in the chat has said they are a DID system. I hope it's okay to say it that way. But yeah, I want to point that out. So, Travis, please let me know, do you happen to have a channel or anything that we can reach out to, learn more about what that is like, as far as living with a DID system and, anything you can add to words, Brenda. Anything you can add to give us clarity on the situation as well would be greatly appreciated. So yeah, I'm gonna check you out after everything is said and done. Shut up, Donnie. I'm gonna check you out after everything is said and done, just in case you do have a channel that I can check out so I can see what your content is about. But yeah, so how you can help someone who may be going through a BPD episode, or even how you can help yourself. So I know I've said it before, but I want to make it very clear that I am extremely grateful to Chi, Drea, Donnie, and my husband Keenan for getting me through that moment. Like I said earlier, Drea did Drea did call my husband to get his advice on what to do. And he basically told them that, basically just let it happen. Just let her go through it, because really there's not much else you can do. And it's actually true. It's actually right. It just has to pass. From my perspective, they did exactly what I needed them to do in that moment, which was just be present. And she had mentioned it also, but this is something that she mentioned and brought it to my attention, but this is something that I also realized too. She was like, yeah, the best thing about it was like, I'm not, I'm not a big physical person. I'm not a physical touch person. And I know I've spoken about this in one of the previous lives. I am not one who is down for physical touch all the time. So when it does happen, it is out of necessity. So for me, having my friends come through and hold my hand, and like I said, I remember, I'm assuming that was Drea, like rubbing my knee or rubbing my back, and just like, just speaking softly to me and just saying certain things. It really helps because that helps me because it keeps me in reality. It keeps me grounded. That's the word I want to say. It keeps me grounded. So even though I'm not fully there, my subconscious, or the part of me that's in the back, is like, okay, I'm aware that somebody is doing something, if that makes sense. So the fact that I'm having that physical touch, just a bit of a, like a little this, a little rub, little something. Now, I'm not a person that, I don't want you to hug me or anything like that, because I'm like, that's too restrictive. That's too much pressure. And it feels like I'm being closed in. So just holding the hand, a little rub, a little something, just to say, hey, this is what's real. This is real. Talking to me and saying, hey, I'm right here. Having a conversation despite who may be present at the time, and speaking as if it's a normal thing, is very, very good. So to all of y'all are amazing. And I agree with C. My support team is bomb, as I don't want to cuss, but my support team is super, super bomb, y'all. They are amazing. So, yeah, that's, yeah. So, holding Chi's hand kept me, in the very beginning, holding Chi's hand kept me in as much of the state of reality as I could be. Even though I knew it was coming, it was still something that kept me grounded. Being able to feel her physically there kept that part of me grounded enough to where I'm not feeling as if I'm out of it completely. I'm not lost in another land. I'm not lost in another world, and I'm not lost in the back of my head. And like I said, the verbal communication is good for the sense that it's good to hear that voice talk to you, but it also depends on how the person is presenting to you. Because sometimes, like I said, one part of the child is verbal, they like to talk, and the other child doesn't. And especially if that child is very, like, the boy is very reserved. He doesn't really talk to many people at all. He's more point, touch, but not very much in the corner to himself. But the girl is a little more vocal, a little more open, because she's, in those moments, she's like, oh, okay, I know that I can be comfortable, so I can have that conversation or whatever. Okay, y'all are blowing me up. What y'all want? Let me see real quick, y'all. Oh, okay, this is not for me. Anyway, so, where am I? Okay, so yeah. So yeah, if you are the person that is trying to help someone through, like I said, those might actually be things that are helpful. Like I said, soothing, talking, very soft communication, trying not to speak in a way that's like snap out of it, or you'll be fine, or get over it, or whatever. Or if you see that the person has regressed or has become a different persona, try not to put them in a space where they feel like, or you're like dismissing who is there in front of you, because that has happened before with me, and it just makes the situation even worse, because now you're like, oh, I'm super ignored. I feel as if, I can't exist. And so that part of me feels like I can't exist. So that just makes it even worse, and I regress even further and down into myself. So try your best if you ever come across those situations, just to be aware of who you're speaking with. And if you don't know, a lot of times you can more than likely ask, just say, hey, who am I talking to? Who's here right now? Or like my friend did, or like Drea did, what do you need? And like a lot of times you don't even have to know who it is. You just have to be able to say, I'm here, right? And depending on the person, like I said, the physical touch that worked for me is more of just a holding hand and a bit of a rub in different areas. But like I said, I would not suggest when a person is in that mode to try to hug or to like be too restrictive on their body movements, because again, that could make them feel even more unsafe. But that's my experience. There might be some people out there who need that, and the tighter you hug them, sometimes that gives them more comfort. So I guess the next point is basically just be aware of their behavior, be aware of what actually works from them in a normal setting. If you know that the person is normally a touchy-feely person, they like to hug and hold hands and all that stuff, that might be something that's actually comforting for them to be hugged and to be in that position with them. However, if you're aware that they're not normally a touchy-feely person, but you need something to keep them grounded and keep them in reality, use things that you know are most common to them. Like, music can help. Like I said, conversation helps. Showing them videos, showing them, reading to them, or taking them outside. Just anything that you know is considered normal for them, or something that gives them a sense of what is considered reality for them. Be aware of those things. For me, it's a reminder that I'm not, I'm not lost in myself, I guess is the best way to put it. Now, personally, I did mention this earlier, but I want to say again that I personally can't stand this, but I understand the need to ask if you're okay. I understand it. Personally, I cannot stand it because it just reminds me that I am not okay, but all I want to do is get past it. But I do understand why it's needed, because it's a good way to check in and make sure that they are fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and the way that Drea explained it to me, she was like, I don't really know how else to ask this. That's the easiest way, just to get straight to the point and be like, okay, I noticed something is wrong. I noticed something is off. So I just want to know, are you okay? Is there, what do you need? What is this? What is that? So it's one of those things that I get why people say it. It gets to me, but at the same time, it's like, I have to allow it, because what else do you say, really? What's a more simple way just to say, hey, I noticed something's wrong, so what's going on? Like, oh yeah, I forgot, I even spoke to my boss this morning, and we were supposed to have a meeting last night, or your friend is making his noises again. But I saw my boss this morning, and we were supposed to talk last night. Not really a meeting, but we were supposed to talk last night. And even he was like, yeah, I knew something was wrong, because you normally call me when we miss some time or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I knew something was up, because you didn't call me. And I was like, yeah. And so he was like, yeah, tell me what happened and everything. But like I said, when you have a good support team, if you are wanting to be a good supportive person, just be aware of what that person's going through. Be aware of their behaviors on what's considered a good or a normal day. Yeah, I'm grateful I have people who are aware of how I am, my patterns and my behaviors and my routines and things like that. I'm glad I have people aware enough of me to know that there's a problem. And honestly, I guess I could chalk that up to being a creature of habit and routine. So I'm sure by now it's obvious that I do not respond well to unexpected changes. I thrive best in structure and organization and in routine because the anxiety be high and the stress be stressing. So knowing that there is a structured plan and something that I can look forward to makes life so much easier to deal with. But when I have those unexpected changes, it does send me. And so that's something I'm definitely working to get through. But yeah, when my plans get thwarted, I do panic and my anxiety gets high, and then I start the process of the spiral. But like I said, it is something that I have to give myself credit on too, because I recognize it now. I recognize when it's about to happen. Because like I said, I took the measures to be able to say, okay, I feel it happening. I feel that I can't stop it. I can't control what's happening, but I know it's about to happen. So I guess in the best way, it's like, okay, I already took the measures. I called my friend in and I asked her to be there with me. So that way, if anything did happen, I wasn't putting myself in harm's way. So I had somebody there with me. So I guess from time, I was able to learn those things about myself. So that, like I said, this is our last point for tonight. And basically, yeah, as I'm explaining, this is ways that you help yourself. Like I said, I knew it was going to happen. I knew I was going to have an episode. And no matter how much I tried to prep myself for it or calm myself down, and no matter how much I tried to ignore it and avoid it, it was still going to happen no matter what. So that really does affect me highly. It really eats away at me, and it makes me feel powerless. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like you're standing on a train track and you're watching the train come barreling down towards you, and you can't move anywhere. You're just stuck there. That's what it feels like. And it's like you feel like you're doomed. You feel like you're a failure, because it's like you're going through the motions of trying to put yourself in a better place. Like, I was feeling so good, right? I've been feeling really good. I have nothing but gratitude for everything that has happened in the past few months. So it really does hurt me when I go through those motions, because I'm like, you feel as if you've put in so much work to recover just to have those moments. But like I said before, I have to give myself that credit, because yes, I had the moment, and yes, I went through it, but I was able to prepare myself to go through it just by calling my husband, just by telling my friend, come here and let me hold your hand, just by, letting it happen, really. I can't really see that as a failure, because it's like, to me, a failure would have been I close the door, lock it, and I just lose myself, and just suffer alone. But the fact that I put myself in a position to not suffer alone is something that I have to actually give myself props on. So it is very important, and I've mentioned this before in my previous lives, and I'm going to mention it again. It is very important to be aware of your triggers, be aware of your breaking points. Notice what it physically feels like when you are panicking or spiraling. Take inventory of your emotions throughout the day. Are you noticing yourself responding to things that normally wouldn't faze you? Is your appetite or your sleep schedule changing? Are you wanting to sleep more or less? Or you want to eat more or less? Do certain noises bother you? Are you becoming sensitive to light and sensitive to sound? Are you becoming irritable in the slightest of instances? Knowing knowing who you are on a good day can help you become better prepared for the bad day, basically. And letting others know and letting others you trust know what you're going through and being open with them. Because another way that I set myself up to be successful in this situation was that throughout the day, I would tell Drea, hey, I'm feeling really irritable. Hey, I'm feeling really tired, or I'm annoyed, or I'm this, or I'm that. And again, the fact that she's astute enough to pick up on those mood changes. She could tell, like I said earlier, when we were in the teacher's lounge and I felt, I'm about to answer that. And when I said earlier in the teacher's lounge, how I like the presence of so many people around me, and it wasn't even that many, but the fact we were in a smaller room with more and more people coming in was affecting me. And the fact that she was astute enough to pick up on that, that is super important. But it's also a matter of being able to pick up on it for yourself, so that way you can help others see it as well. Whoa, y'all had a lot to say. Hold on. Let me go back because there's some stuff I missed. Blue said, "Thank you, BPDsquared fam, for caring." Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Travis Hall, I am still new to this, and I have a podcast host that I'm going to start a podcast on my channel next week. Awesome. I cannot wait for that. Like I said, after this, I'm going to go to your channel and subscribe and click that bell so I don't miss it, because I want to make sure that I am watching so I can get that information as well. That's awesome. I wish you the best in that too. Let's see. And my friend C has some things to say. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Okay, wow. My friend was having a bipolar episode years ago. I tried to keep her at my house instead of wandering the streets. It was very hard, but thank you for sharing some tips. You're very welcome. And that's awesome that you did that for your friend too. I know that was hard for you, because even now, I'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, you come get your baby. Donnie, I can't stand you. Maybe if that ever happens again, I'll be more silly. Just wanted to make sure they didn't need more help, because sometimes you do. Absolutely. But again, like I said, Blue, it just kind of depends on the person. It depends on if that's what they respond well to, because sometimes in those moments they may not want to joke around. I mean, you could test it out and see if that's something they're okay with. But, it all depends on what makes them feel comfortable in the moment. I mean, a lot of this stuff is trial and error too, and not just for you, but for them. So sometimes it'll work and sometimes it might not. But hopefully, in those instances, it's like, okay, let me see if this happens, and try your best to just be as aware as possible to, okay, is this a good reaction or a bad reaction? I'll bring comfort and Miguel Jackson. I gotta send you a picture of Miguel, by the way. Anyway, I Need Mood Changers, a song to break through the emotional aftermath and fix anxiety. Yeah, music helps me a lot, though. Music does help you a lot. Music has saved my life in so many instances. I'm a warrior. And also, I do not use to answer your question, Blue, I do not use a mood tracker right now, but it's really funny because as I've been scrolling through like Instagram and stuff, I've been seeing all these ads for mood trackers. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's a sign that I do need to get back into doing that. I used to do it. I used to have like tons of journals, and I used to even make my own journal, like bullet journal, and do it. But it's something that I haven't done recently because, like I said, I was feeling so good that it wasn't something necessary. But that is something that I will start doing again. Kenny G, ocean sounds, maybe rain sounds. Yeah, that is really good too. But I mostly do that if I know that my brain is just making too much noise. And yes, there is a learning curve if you are a spouse. Absolutely. But I feel like in any situation, if you are choosing to have a relationship with that person, whether they be your spouse, whether they be a friend, whether they be even a family member that you choose to take that kind of responsibility for, it's going to be a learning curve for both of y'all. And yeah, big ups to big ups to you, Donnie. You ain't no good, and you know you're not. I'm not even gonna answer to that. I'm gonna call you and fuss at you later. But anyway, but yeah, okay. So I just wanted to catch up on all of that. But one of the last things I want to mention is that living with these disorders is, I'm pretty sure, not necessary to explain how hard it is, because it's hard. Oh, you asked, and here he is. Hold on. Oh. Hold on. Pooh. Oh, he went and hid under the table. Pooh. Ah, get out of there. Come. Come here. Come here. Come here. Sit. Can y'all see him? Hold up. There he is. There's a Pukas. Hi, baby. Say hi. Say hi to your family. There he is. See, speak of the devil, and here he comes. Anyway. Alrighty. But yeah. Lucas Pukas. Yeah, he was back there making all that noise. And yes, he is over here being camera shy. He's such a mess. Luke's perspective is, I'm gonna dig in here and find toys to make as much noise as possible. Okay. But yeah, sorry y'all. Okay, he's good. He said hey. He said hey to everybody, so now he's over there chewing on his bone. So I guess he's in a better space. He's in a better space now. But yeah, yeah, living with this disorder is kind of hard, but being aware of yourself, being aware of these triggers, being aware that, just because it happens, so main point, just because you have an episode, it does not mean you are automatically failing at recovery. I have explained this to plenty of people, and I bring this up all the time, and I even have to tell myself and remind myself, healing is not a linear experience. Most people, there's a meme, and I know most people have seen it. People think healing is this. Healing is actually like this. It goes every which way, because there's no such thing as a straight line of healing, because healing is also a matter of testing where you've come from, right? So you're feeling yourself going through those motions, and you're going to go through it time and time and time again. And the hold on, I'm gonna get to you. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, so healing is going through those motions time and time and time again. The healing comes when, and you're healing because of how you're responding to it. You're healing because when you're responding that you're not using the same methods you did before. So like I said, I know that I'm in the process of healing through it. It's something I'm going to deal with more than likely for the rest of my life. But the reason that I know that I'm doing better than I could be is because I was able to get ahead of it for what's getting ahead to me. Like I said, calling someone in, making people aware, hey, these are the emotions I'm going through right now. This is what I feel. Let me take myself to bed. Let me call somebody. Let me do this. Let me do that. It's a matter of being able to call out where you are before you end up in that space. So healing, it sucks, but it's not an impossibility. We have to start looking at healing as an up and down incline, up and down hill. It's going to take, C just said it, and I appreciate that. Healing takes time and can come from different sources. Absolutely. Healing takes time. Healing takes time. Healing takes time and presents itself in various different ways. So first of all, hey, lovely Trinity 82, welcome in. Thank you for being here tonight. How do you know when you are having an episode, and can it be possible to only have episodes when you are drinking? I was diagnosed with BPD, but I really only act out when I drink and around certain people. I don't know. It's so annoying not knowing where you stand mentally. So I kind of went through earlier how I know for me when I'm going through an episode and when it's about to start, and the things that cause me, sorry, let me look at the camera, and the things that cause me to react the way that I do. But I can honestly say that substances, whether it be drinking or just smoking or anything else like that, it does, is the word exacerbate what I want to use? It does heighten the experience, and it can agitate your emotions even more. So if you know that when you drink, it makes you either more angry, more anxious, more paranoid, more anything, then it will lead to you being triggered into an episode. Because BPD episodes are mostly brought on, and BPD triggers, as we have learned, are mostly brought on by stress. So if you're doing things that add to those stressors, then you are more than likely going to put yourself into being triggered into an episode. I hope that answers your question, dear. It's so annoying not knowing where you stand mentally, and that's true. First of all, when were you diagnosed? And secondly, how much research have you already done on your diagnosis? It is very important for you to understand what the symptoms are and what could possibly cause your triggers outside of drinking or anything else like that. I would suggest, if this is something you've already done, great. But if not, definitely look into it. Definitely look into like what causes these triggers and what different symptoms are and what brings out those symptoms too. But like I said earlier, to be more direct to your question, yeah, drinking can trigger you into an episode because it does heighten those emotions depending on if you're already in a certain emotional state as it is. So, with that being said, finally at the end. Finally at the end of the live. So thank y'all. Every single one of you who joined tonight's discussion, every single one of you who jumped in the chat, asked a question and gave your input comments and just added to the conversation. Y'all are amazing. And I'm not going to cry, but y'all are amazing. And thank you so much for giving me a reason to keep coming back and doing this on a semi-weekly basis. This channel is so important to me. And I'm just being real with y'all. This channel is very important to me because the more I have people reach out and say, hey, I watched your video and it really helped me understand something, and people reach out and ask me questions and we have conversations and we're talking about all this stuff, this is my motivation to keep going. because I had explained in a previous live that, when I started this channel, I felt kind of like I got off track, and I felt like I was being a fraud, and I felt like I was doing a disservice to the people that I was trying to share this information with. Stop growling at me. And I felt like I was doing a disservice to the people I was sharing my information with, because I felt like I was being a fraud. I felt like I wasn't giving everybody what they deserved to know and what they deserved to have. So the fact that we're able to be here on the platform right now and have these conversations, and, the fact that we're growing as a family, as a community, it means so much. It means so much. So again, thank y'all for joining me again tonight. And I hope that what we shared tonight gave you some insight into what it's like to go through a BPD episode, at least from my perspective. If you have ever experienced this, I would really love for you to share it in the comments, whether you're watching this live or watching it later. Please share your experience in the comments below, because as you see, we have people in the chat already who are speaking to their situation with that have BPD, even people who have DID. And my friends, like I said, they're telling you about it from their perspective, from just the outside looking in. And so, yeah, I'd love to know y'all's experiences. I feel like it would definitely add to the conversation to get, like I said, these are things coming from my experience and my perspective and what helped me and what worked for me. So it would be great to hear it from an outside source to say, yeah, either this is what I experienced, or this is how it works for me, or this is what happened when I went through it, so that we have more of an understanding from the different, from people's experiences. So yeah. If you feel, sorry, Luke is throwing me off because he's fussing at me because he wants to go potty. We didn't take him out earlier because it was pouring down raining, and he doesn't do water, right? Sweet. All right, now, thank you. I was about to get to that. Oh, lovely Trinity, thank you so much for your answer. I hate that I got to the live so late. I'll turn on my notifications. Thank you so much. And it's okay. Like I said, it's going to be available for you to watch right after we get off of here. I'm going to put the timestamps in so you guys will have a better way of navigating through the video as well. But anyway, if you feel someone needs to hear this, or you feel that it can help you explain your own situation, like I said before, please share this with everyone you know. The goal on this channel is to spread awareness and education. So by sharing this video or any other video that I have on this channel, even if it's with one person, that's even more people that help us get the message out and get the message spread further. So please share this video any way you can. And if you enjoyed tonight's live and you want to be a part of more discussions like this one, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out. And, so you're seeing when we go live and when I post other videos and other content. For the most part, you guys can catch me live on Thursdays at 8 p.m. As far as I know, that is not going to change. If it does, I will make sure you guys are aware. But for the most part, yeah, you're going to catch me Thursdays at 8 p.m. live, and we're going to have more conversations like this. We are on the road to 1,000 sunflowers, and I know that we can make it before October. That is my goal, to make it to 1,000 before I hit my birthday, which is October the 5th. So that would be the most amazing birthday present ever. So I know that we can get there. So like I said, like, share, comment, and definitely encourage others to subscribe. And finally, you want to reach out to me, all my socials are in the flower box down below. So please, y'all can definitely reach out to me. Instagram is going to be your best bet if you ever want to just reach out and talk. Just, do whatever, just have conversations and yada yada. So reach out to me on my socials, as well as check out my website. And again, let me put this up here, the resources as well, just to remind you guys there are resources available if you or a loved one has any concerns about any mental health crises, or just wants more information, or just needs a more professional opinion than what I can offer here for you guys. Again, I give you the information based on a personal perspective, but if you need a more professional perspective, please utilize these resources and check out just check that out. And yeah, sorry, I'll try to end it, but anyway, that's pretty much it for now. I'm glad that you guys so Blue says definitely learned something, and I'm so glad. Thank you for that. I know I get a little off and I get distracted sometimes, but that's just my normal flow of how I do things with Luke and everything. And so, yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. What Luke said, and I will be, more than likely, if anything doesn't change, I will be live again next Thursday at 8 p.m. again. Hopefully I will have some time to put out some more content as well, because there's a lot of subjects that we have covered over the course of these lives that I really want to get out to you guys. Like, I still owe you the rest of the bipolar episode, as well as some more information that's regarding bipolar. Drea gave me a good point to do BPD versus DID. There's going to be a lot that we can talk about here on this channel. If you have any suggestions also, please do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below as well, because I want to know what you guys want to talk about. What's concerning you, and what do you feel like the world needs to be more open in talking about when it comes to mental health and our mental health as a society. So yeah, that's it. I love you. I'll see you guys next Thursday. And as always, stay square. I'll see y'all later. I love you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye. Where's Luke? Luke, say bye. Say bye. Bye, y'all.